Hi class. So today we're moving into a new area. We've been talking about knowledge, data, how that means something, how we can use analytics to actually change the world or change a business or an organization. Where does this come from? Well, a lot of times we can get data from two different types of places, as your book talks about. One is that tacit knowledge area, to where we learn things from watching or doing or seeing or learning itself, which we'll talk about machine learning in a second, which essentially is tacit knowledge from learning from experiences too. Or the explicit, to where maybe we send out a survey or we question our employees. We look at their habits, when they come to work, when they don't come to work, when they call off sick, when they show up for a holiday because they want the overtime pay or not. These are things we can use as predictive analytics to help us grow in our business and help our employees or manage our IT needs. Let's talk a little bit about some of the new material like machine learning. It's really hip, really cool. It's out there everywhere. It's in our living rooms today. It's in our cars. It's in my pocket right now, too, in a way. Siri, we see that in the Apple effect of how it's learning and adapting to grow to help us with everyday applications that Apple was building. I look at the phone today and how my parents are now using facial recognition. My father would have never thought this would happen, born in the early 50s. And now today, my mother and my father both have facial recognition software on their phones. Interesting, right? A whole new world for them. And my mother said, why do we need this? Why do we want this? I said, well, Mom, think about it. Think about how this data has changed the world. Once your face is recognized, your phone is now more secure, more protected. Is it? Yes. But how can that be used? Let's look at the law and legal law first. What can they use with facial recognition? Well, one, they can use it to help capture or profile somebody. One, we already kind of do this with our driver's license, so that information can be already out there. It is out there. And I'll give you an example to where it's actually helped us in this world. The data they captured from driver's license were used in cameras in Boston, particularly when the bombing happened. Police were able to scour all the cameras around and look and see any faces in the crowd and run through all the data and actually link to the two individuals that were in this process of doing the bombing and chase them down right quick. That facial recognition data was captured through driver's license, yearbooks, different applications to where we use today that we don't even think about can all be captured. All of us went through grade schools or different schools and had our portraits taken. Maybe it was a gallery. This data could all be captured someday. It could be used to help too in other ways. Say a child is abducted. Now we send out Amber Alerts. But what if the Amber Alerts catches somebody on a camera or somewhere? We have something that someone who abducted a child can instantly be identified through all this data and put out there. So now we have more than just a license plate. We have a picture. We have information to help save a child. This is where facial recognition and all this new data is coming in, to where we think of a data as a 0-1. Could now be the glasses I wear, could be the shapes of my eyes. Everything becomes a point of interest and something to capture. Some ways it's very scary, yes. Other ways it's very interesting how it can change our world for the better, especially in businesses. Instead of an employee having to worry about security checks all the time, they come in face to camera. They can walk through and be gated. Instantly shut off and recognize if there's an improper person in the area where they're not supposed to be for a security and an IT firm. Amazing, huh? Cameras could catch this. Computers can analyze it. When I say computers, think about what's out there right now. How many of you know about IBM's Watson idea? Fascinating technology. Looking at algorithm, looking to grow and learn through its own machine learning aspects. We can think about this in the way it first happened, to where it was out there to beat humans in jeopardy. It learned from its mistakes and wrong answers and the humans, and was able to correctly input the right answers and beat humans real fast. More importantly, Watson's now being used for amazing things today, like hospitals. Particularly cancer care is one of the things that fascinates me. I grew up with a grandfather who suffered terribly. They never really knew how to treat or help him. It was always a guesswork from a book, something that was explicit. A book wrote down ideas somebody else transferred. Today, Watson's being used in hospitals and areas to where instantly patient data is being recorded and analyzed, and is actually predicting ways to help a patient learn about how they can help themselves. or a nurse understand what they can do for more comfort for a patient. Through analytics and ideas, they're actually able to give better patient care before you even walk in the hospital. They have an algorithm of predictors of what you need at home, the support, the care, the facilities. These are all amazing things that are being done through Watson today. We see this also in supply chain management in hospitals, where it's predicting the amount and need of something simple such as a Band-Aid. It's able to look and track over historical data and learn how one patient works on each procedure and allow doctors to understand what they need to staff or put in their supply chains in a hospital. These are amazing things that are happening today from artificial intelligence and learning. The military is doing it as well. They're staffing their bases in supply chain management for food. Could you imagine how long it takes for one human to capture all the data needed just for how much is being used in the food and water on a military base? They could use all this data now, and Watson's helping them, and they can transfer it if troops go overseas. And they can do it on a scalability size to the amount of troops and the new bases they set up remotely. Amazingly different. Saves such power and time through these predictive analytics as well and human-computer interaction. Yes, they are machine learning. They are a little scary that what it learns. We always see the futuristic movies. You never know what's going to happen. But it also is incredible because it changes our world today. It makes it safer. We think about this through augmented reality too. We are learning so many different things in policing, and I love to go back to police because my brother's a great police officer, and I always think about how he could have a safer job. Training in augmented reality today comes in, just like I'm here today with you in a green room. They do it in a green room for training where there's pop-ups of different types of bad guys, and they can do predictive analytics of when a cop does wrong and keep retraining that person over and over until it's ingrained cognitively how to behave and how to act in certain situations where they're not doing so well. They can transfer this to other police officers. They might find in one area there's a lax idea. Think about SWAT and how they can go into an interior room through augmented reality, or the military go into an area and be 10 times safer just by cognitively going into it 10, 11 times through augmented reality and learning a process of where they need to turn left or right. Look for someone that can come through a door on either side. Lights may come on. Lights may be lost. All these are predictors that they can look at to throw in and experiment and understand how they can help a police officer or a military person be saved and never suffer an injury. Many of the people out there today are learning things that we don't take too much of advantage of. Let's think about pilots. It's something that's happened. They're trained through augmented reality today to look for wind shears and understand the signs for this, how to control a plane if there's a blast on the runway and what to do, a cabin pressure loss, or a lot of times, unfortunately, an engine failure. Can they control a plane? Well, if you do this through augmented reality and they can take it through the air with one plane engine loss and they can keep flying, eventually they can get back safely. All these predictive analytics and data analytics have drove today to making this augmented reality a lot safer and a harder test for pilots. They keep continuously putting them through every time they learn something from this and the machine learning of what the person did and predict what they'll do next to try to trick them up and make it harder. It's an interesting way to change the world. How can we change this maybe for our world a little bit? Maybe it's just driver training for students. Think about it. Instead of the traditional, like I had, you get in the car and you start going and someone tells you brake, stop, use your turn signal. Maybe it's augmented reality to where the most crashes that happen in the world are usually 3 miles from your house. They're probably pretty similar. We create predictive analytics for these crashes for youth drivers from 16 to 21, and they have to go through augmented reality driver training. Think about how this would change the world. Put them into 8 lanes of traffic around Atlanta, DC, LA. Put them into a quick braking situation where a child runs out into the street. Maybe all this could change our world and make it safer for you and I. It's incredible what machine learning can do. We add this to our cars, which are already happening. We transmit that data back and makes us safer. Maybe it'll lower our insurance rates. It's all predictive. It's all human conditions. But when we add in that augmented reality and the human machine learning aspects, we can help each other learn and train and grow. How could this help for your organization? I'm not sure. Maybe you're going to be an entrepreneur and you're going to start thinking about one of these ventures I'm talking about today. You can make the first app to do this, the first green room to set up driver training. Not quite sure. Think about how this can change your life. Have a great day, gang. Talk to you soon.